Good morning. I'm sitting here with Lloyd Runnett, the Executive Director of the Louisa County Resource Center. Good morning, Lloyd.
Good morning.
And I appreciate you taking the time. Talk to me a little bit about what Louisa Resource does.
Well, let me start with our history first before we get into what we do today.
Sure.
Because it's a little different, but it's sort of the same. Louisa Resource has been around since the early 1990s, really late 80s, early 90s. Started out working with people with medications, actually. At the time, it's sort of like things, what goes around comes around. Obviously, today we're at supply chain issues and we're dealing with medication issues now. But there was a bigger issue then, and so we started with that, and they helped people with medications and stuff. And then there was a faith-based program for the emergency food pantry, which existed in the community, has since the 50s. Actually, my parents participated in it in our home church. And so I can remember going with my mom and dad to deliver food in this program back in the 60s. Anyway, long story short, it ended up sort of being absorbed into the organization. And from there, it sort of grew. And through the 80s into the 90s, early 2000s, we added food programs. And it sort of became just a food program. The medication sort of went away and other things. But in the early 2000s, our board evolved a little bit. Kind of expanded the vision to be able to look at what all the community needs were, not just the food things or not just some of the things, but what all of the community needs were and what opportunities they were to serve. And I'll have to say today, as we continue to evolve and look at what's going on, we're looking for ways to expand and do in the unfilled need category. We're not looking to duplicate anybody. We're not looking to do stuff. We're looking to actually help people where there's a gap. And there, as we know today, with the economy the way it is, and with the things that are going on, there's lots of gaps, and we create gaps all the time. In fact, got gaps right now that we're working on today. So
when folks come to the resource center, and you said it's migrated, we have some food, there's a thrift store. Is there any limitation when someone comes in looking for?
So let me start with depending on.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this first of all. When I came here, and I've been here 7 years now. Actually, my anniversary date's coming up next week, no, week after next. Anyway, been here 7 years. And I can tell you that nobody leaves here hungry. Okay, nobody leaves here hungry. Everybody's going to get food. There are some limitations. There's some USDA food here that's under the Department of Agriculture, and that food is put forth for a certain program, which is our covered board program. Many of the qualifications of the SNAP benefits that are out there. We also have a special program here that we like to say that's above SNAP that allows the families that are working really hard to try to make it. And they're just out of that SNAP opportunity to get some help. And we have a program here called the GAP program, Grocery Assistance Program. We have that. So there are limitations, but we have workarounds that don't involve the USDA food. That food goes right where it was supposed to the people who it was designed for. We do a lot with food, actually. While I'm sitting here thinking about it, we have the emergency food pantry, which I mentioned earlier. It's been around since the 50s, and we're able to use that program. That's the one where nobody goes hungry. You show up here, I don't care what your income is, I don't care what you're doing, you're going to get food. You're going to get the food. And over the years, we've had some great opportunities to serve. Recently, we had the snowstorm that hit here. You're in the insurance business, so you know exactly what that did. Well, we had most of Louisa County out of electricity for the better part of a week. Mm-hmm. Many people that do not qualify for anything just ran out of food because there was none to get in the grocery store, and they didn't have any. Not everybody prepares. And so we served over 300 client families out of the emergency food pantry. Because that program exists and because it exists within our organization, we were able to modify it ever so slightly. And we did a drive-through operations where we gave people enough food for 4 people for 3 days, water, food, all of the essentials that we were able to just put in a drive-through box, put it in their car and go on. Very similar to a Chick-fil-A model. So we help people out with that. That's a program. We do a lot of children's feeding, and we partner with Louisa County Public Schools on a broad spectrum of many programs. But one of them is children's feeding. No child in Louisa County will go hungry. I can tell you, between Louisa County Public Schools and Louisa Resource Council, we're going to ensure that every child has something to eat every day if we can do anything at all about it. And so we have children's feeding on a multitude of levels. We do backpacks in the school. We do special supplements here. We do special supplements throughout the summer. We work with Louisa Public Schools to make sure if they need anything, say, that can't be obtained through the things that they have, we work to make sure that, because I have, the nice thing about not being a government agency, I like being a non-government agency. I like that because it allows me the flexibility within the limitations that the board puts on me, which actually give me a lot of latitude to make sure that nobody goes hungry. I'm able to do some pretty cool things, and our staff here is awesome. And they don't even come to me; they just know that our philosophy here is nobody goes hungry. And we do some stuff. We have a special program for people that are over 60 years old. It's a special supplement, and then we have other feeding programs, whatever. And we can create whatever we want within whatever's necessary to make sure that the needs of our community are met. And so we're getting ready, in fact, because of our supply chain issues and the transportation issues that are being created by the recent fuel changes and some of the other things. We're going back to a very robust remote distribution. Louisa County is 514 square miles. And so we're going to be moving food to the western end of our county and to the eastern end of our county, to the south. And we're going to be moving these foods out so that we can meet our clients better than halfway. We're going to meet them at their doorstep. And so that's part of our plan. In fact, I'm working on that today. So,
well, I'm upset because that was my next question: is you are centrally located, and how would you reach the outskirts?
I stole your thunder, but I also led into it. But we're working on that. We work with our faith-based community on that. They're really good partners to us. Our faith-based community does a tremendous job. We wouldn't be here without their great support.
Sure.
And so we're working on that today and get that done. But we're trying to meet the needs. Like we're trying to meet the needs of our community at their door, and see what's going on. It's just like with our children. I had an opportunity yesterday to meet with the public school nutrition specialist, who actually is the head of all feeding for Louisa County schools, and just see where we are for the summer program, and see where we are for next year, and see what we can do together. And she was really excited. She says, "Yeah, there's some opportunities. We're going to partner again and that kind of stuff." So we're looking for, they're looking for those things. But food is not all that we do here. We do a lot of referral and information. If you hang around here a while, you'll hear the phone ring over and over and over again. And our team that answers the phone is trained to answer people's questions, to get them referred to the various locations. So if someone calls here and they need help with health information, we can partner them up. We can send them to UVA. We can send them to our local clinics. And I say send the information. Partner with our community partners, our leadership partners at the county office building, the health department, human services, schools, whoever. We work with that. We do between 400 and 500 referrals a month of people who need that. We have a great dental program here. This is something we found a few years ago. We partner with the UVA School of Nursing, and our nursing students were here, and we were looking for gaps in healthcare, but we had done a survey several years ago, and one of the things came out of there was was healthcare. Obviously, healthcare is a big problem. I'm not, and even with all my vast tools in the toolbox, I'm not sure I can solve all the healthcare issues, but I can take care of a toothache. And what we discovered was that data indicated that there were many needs in Louisa County that weren't being met in the dental world. So we created a program. It's a voucher program. It's actually been looked at by a number of people as a model program for what we do. We partner with every local dentist. And when a person comes here in pain or they have an issue, our team is here to get them into a dentist as quickly as we can. And we have a $500 voucher where we pay to have that particular problem taken care of. Now, $500 doesn't go very far, but it goes far enough typically to get the pain taken care of and get people feeling better and those kinds of things. So,
sure.
And our dentists are wonderful. Like I said, we partner with every dentist, and they're wonderful people. They actually give us a very generous pay rate. Very generous. They're very, very good about. Of course, we do put people in their chairs.
Yeah.
Okay. So that they're very generous about how they do. So it's a good partnership. I can't say it's been a great. We have a good leadership team on that. A couple of retired dentists, a retired dental hygienist. They just do a wonderful job, and we'll be working on that program more extensively. That's a standalone program. We solicit grants for that program. We don't typically take money from one place to the other. We make that program stand alone, and so we're looking to move some money into it this year. We're going to look for some fundraising opportunities, I guess, starting here next week, to move some more money in there to get that done. And then we have our community closet, which is across the street, and that's a wonderful program. It deals with clothes and some household items and a little bit of furniture. We're not in the furniture business, really not in the household items except for the things, but out of that particular program, we do a lot of things. We give away more than we sell,
Sure.
What we do. There's some really nice clothes people donate. And so we have to put a little something on them, not because we want to, we just don't want people to take them and put them back in a yard sale. So what we do is we have a few items that we sell, but we give away more. In fact, the emergency closet at Louisa County High School, we support that. All the clothes in that emergency closet. So if a child comes to school and has an event that a piece of clothing is damaged or whatever, we have clothing there that's immediately available to their staff that they can put on those clothes. That we have, and they're contemporary. They're not. I don't have a 17-year-old male in my 60-some-year-old pants. So they have contemporary clothing to wear, and we're pretty.
Although it all comes back, you get that butterfly collar again.
Yeah, I gotta say it. Oh yeah, I gotta say I wear the classics, man. Although I don't think I'm going to be back to the paisley shirts of the 70s, so we work with them, and we're real proud of what we do over there. We have a great team over there. We have a couple people, and we open that on Saturdays, a couple Saturdays a month, and we have people come and they shop and they're able to pick up things. The other day, a lady had the toddler. They had an incident in their family, had a toddler. She was able to come down and get lots of clothes. I forget all the items she actually got. It was more than clothes that we were able to help her out with. And it cost her nothing. Those were just things that we were able to do. So I can remember, it's been a couple years now, where we had an incident where grandparents had essentially gotten custody of their 3 grandchildren. Really nice couple, known in the community, but things happen in families today, as they showed up here, and they need some help because they had 3, I think a 3, a 5, and a 9-year-old that they had inherited. 2 of them were going to school. Anyway, so they had nothing but the clothes on their back. and we were able to outfit those 2 that were going to school. We were able to outfit with 5 outfits, 2 pairs of shoes for school. We were able to help the grandparents with food. We were able to do a lot of things, and they were just so thankful for what we were able to do. And that's just one of the many stories that, where we were able to step in and fill that gap that I talked about. So,
well, it's clear that the gift that the Louisa County brings and then gives back is tremendous. What do you have from the community in terms of volunteers? I mean, it's a small staff, but
that's a great question. We do have a small staff, as you know how big our staff is. So, we have a small staff. It's me, and I'm really the only guy that's kind of like on duty 24/7, 365. And truthfully, I'm used to that. So, you asked me some time ago about where did I come from. So, well, my background's actually public safety. I was a fire chief. I've been involved in public safety in the fire service or in emergency management for over 40 years. I started in Mineral Fire Department as a volunteer, still there today. Still the president of Mineral Fire Department for a while longer, and then I went to Henrico County, and I've been in stayed in Henrico County over 30 years, finishing as the chief of special operations in EMS. And I enjoyed every minute of being there, but there comes a time when 24, that's a lot, and the age does catch up with you with the fire service. The fire service is a young man's game. So I worked for FEMA for 25 years part-time. I did education, and I authored a couple of programs for them, and I did some educational work for them in special operations and mass casualty management and that kind of stuff. And then I did went all over the country and lectured and did stuff. But anyway, I came here 7 years ago, and like I said, this week. It was real funny. I was flying on a red eye back from Los Angeles, California. I'd been out to, and they all ran together at some point. But I'd been out to Los Angeles, flying back on a red eye, and I said, God, I'm not sure I'm supposed to be traveling and doing like I'm doing. And when I got home and looked in the local newspaper, and there was the thing for this job.
So that was my question. Did they hunt you, or did you find them?
I found it, so I applied, and of course, it was definitely a God thing, and he got me here, and I've been here ever since. I applied, and it was sort of interesting going through the process. I had no idea, what they were looking for, but my background was public safety. It was, but I had a service. I learned that from my mom and dad. They were big service in the community, and so for me, I learned what I learned today, what I know today about serving our community from my parents. It was a foundation that was, I guess they probably learned it from theirs. So,
sure.
It's just generational. And so that, that's kind of my background. But when I got here, we weren't where we are today.
It's grown significantly.
Yeah. In the last, particularly in the last 5 years, we've really grown. We were somewhere in the neighborhood of about a little less than 7,000 square feet of room here. We had a couple of things. And we've grown. We're about 15,000 square feet of building here now. We serve about 2,000 families a month in one program, and that doesn't include all the children's feeding and all that. That's another whole story. Sure. We move about 3 million pounds of food through here. So I want you to hear that number again.
Well, that's the 3 million pounds. How was that prior to COVID, during COVID, and now that we're kind of waning?
So that was a great thing. So for 3 weeks, because that's a great, wonderful question. So during COVID was a very challenging time. So first of all, I'll tell you, we never closed a day during COVID. Okay, we were able to adjust our delivery method to the drive-through model I mentioned earlier. And that's just something we were able to do. I had some background in that kind of stuff. But what happened was we went 3.5 weeks, never got a donation. There was no food to get. Fortunately, we had stores here. Being as big as we were, we had the stores to be able to do that, even though. And so I used the numbers in February of 2020, I should say, and we used those numbers, and those were our base numbers. In March of 2020, we went up 20%, 20% by volume. So The following month in April, we went up 38%
over
the
March.
20% over March. So
right.
58%, if you want to put it in
Yeah.
thing, over where we were. So we grew a half again, a little more half again in just over 6 weeks. And in March, we never got a donation. So we were very fortunate, we got down and stuff, but we learned some lessons. And this is the cool part about working with the board and the things that I did in emergency management and planning. Learn from the things that happened and don't just let them keep happening over and over again. So what we were able to do is get some grants, and we were able to increase our freezer capacity by 150%. So we had a walk-in freezer and some side-by-sides, and we rotated our stock about every week and a half to 2 weeks. Our stock rotated. Well, that worked well for years. I mean, food came in, food goes out, no worries.
Yeah.
Till you don't get anything for 3 weeks. Okay, and so we were down to, we're here, there's a can of peas in the corner and there's a box of mac and cheese somewhere, I think. So, but no, it wasn't quite that bad. But what we were able to do is based on that. So we increased our freezer by 150%, our freezer space. So we were able to put those valuable proteins, that meat that we were getting from donations through our supply chain of different things. We were able to put those into storage, and now we're able to rotate them monthly. Okay, so we doubled our capacity to be able to store that, and so that made a huge difference. And another thing we did was we had clients, because of COVID, we couldn't have our clients come back into the facility. We were very careful. And by the way, let me say this, we never transmitted a case of COVID here at the Resource Council with hundreds of volunteers working. We were very diligent to our COVID safety practices. We never transmitted. We had COVID, but we never transmitted it here, according to the health department. But what we did is we kept our clients out. We had our clients outside, and we did more of a curbside thing. And so one of the things it was, we needed to protect them from the elements because, rain stuff. So we were able to put up an awning. So it's not just an awning. That
was a surprise first time I come here in about a year.
It's a large awning. So you're able to park underneath. You're able to walk over to our window where you get served and our food comes out. Yeah, for you, I'm sure it was. You say, oh, what's that? But anyway, we were able to do that. And so those things that we learned from early days of COVID, we applied for and received grants, and we made changes. And so when the snowstorm hit, we were prepared. We had 300 people, but we operated under our COVID. We had all of our stuff ready to go. So we were able, those changes that we had made, those lessons that we had learned, and that's the cool thing about our board, is that they look for opportunities. We evaluate what we're doing, we evaluate what we've done, and we look for opportunities to make it better. We're on a continuous improvement process here. Those are all slang things in the business world, but we do try to figure out how to do it better. You asked about the volunteers, and that's really the backbone of this place. We have a very small staff. I mean, it's just a few people here. I have an office manager, warehouse manager, somebody to operate the forklift, and somebody to manage our volunteers out in our delivery area, and me. I mean, it's a very, very small staff. Yeah. But here's the backbone. We do over 1,300 hours of volunteerism here a month. The entire back of our facility today in the warehouse is being operated by volunteers with forklifts and trucks and things like that. And that takes a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. And we have excellent volunteers. Very fortunate, one of our volunteers has a background in warehousing and logistical support. I mean, that's just a huge thing. If you go back there and you look at how organized things are, no, that's his influence. They tell me to stay out of that there. They said, they see a director. But Kathy does a great job. She's our office manager, and you get to deal with Kathy on a regular basis. She just does a great job. She knows her job. She does the things she does. And they tell Kathy to stay in her office, too. So
I know how that works. I'm often telling my boss to stay in his office.
So, but for me, what that allows me to do is focus on the things things that the more global pictures, and making sure that that we have the money to operate. Working with our team that works on donations and grants and stuff, and also community. And again, we wouldn't do anything without the community support, the faith-based community, the public community, the education community, the our leadership, and then our many just partners in the community that we work with, the clubs and the organizations and the businesses, the Chamber of Commerce. All of these people contribute to us and give us something, and we give them something. So it's a great relationship. It's all about relationships.
100%, 100%. Well, let's take a moment and talk a little bit more about you. What do you do for fun when you're not here 24/7, 365?
So what do I do for fun?
Yeah.
So we have our farm, the chopping's over there. So I have a few chickens, and right now we don't have any hogs, but I do a little farming. I enjoy hunting. I enjoy fishing.
Turkey season's coming up.
Yeah, Saturday morning, going to hunt with my son.
Fair enough.
But I enjoy hunting. I enjoy fishing. We enjoy the property. We garden. My wife and I garden. And then I have other things, like I'm involved in Mineral Volunteer Fire Department. I've been there for well over 40 years, and I'm currently in a leadership position for about another 5 weeks, and then I'll be moving out. I was recently appointed to the school board to fill an unexpired term, and I'm going to seek that seat. I love kids, and I love seeing that, making sure that they get all the tools in the toolbox, like what we do here. Mm-hmm. I believe in building stakeholders. Now, I'm going to tell you, I know that every kid in Louisa County, like even the ones that come here to the Resource Council, and I indoctrinate with our message, I believe that in building them into a community stakeholder. So when they go somewhere, they take the message that we've been planted in them and hardened in them, and we take it and they become a community stakeholder wherever they go. So that's really kind of my fun thing, is doing that. But I do other stuff too, and then I certainly just like to chill at times.
Just relax. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So
if folks want to come down and volunteer, what's the best way to get here?
So the best way to get here is do Google Maps. So we're at 147 Resource Lane or 1144 Resource Lane, depending. And you come here, and we'll say, look at us online, look at our website, look at what we're doing. Look at us on our Facebook. We certainly have a presence in that media and social media. What I recommend to you is come and visit with us. Come down and walk around, look, touch things, see where y'all, see what would fit, see what works for you. We're pretty simple. It's not complex. There's a lot going on, but there's a spot for you. In most cases, there's a spot for you somewhere on our team, and we can put you to work.
That's key.
Yeah, we can put you to work.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and thank you so much.
Thank you.